good evening. It's a time for another edition of making an evening meal for me and my family. Tonight we're going to be making a gorgeous green farro bowl with some zucchini and asparagus. But guess what? I don't have any zucchini or asparagus, so we're going to go ahead and just kind of improvise. But what I do have is some green beans and some Brussels sprouts. So we're going to go ahead and use that instead. So let's get to it and make the dish. So before we get started, some of you may be thinking, well, what the heck is farro? Well, I didn't know what it was until a few weeks ago either, but it certainly is a good source of fiber. This is what we're going to be using here tonight. We're using Bob's Red Mill farro. It says it's a traditional grain of the Mediterranean. It's a hearty grain, chewy in texture and rich, and has a nutty flavor. All right, so one of the first things that you want to do is you want to bring your water to a boil and also add the vegetable stock to that, which is what is about to happen here. And then once that is boiling, we'll go ahead and add the grain. And you want to let that come to a boil. And once that comes to a boil, we will end up cooking that at a simmer for about 25 to 30 minutes. While we're waiting for the farro to cook, we'll go ahead and wash and clean our vegetables. We got our green beans, and I got my Brussels sprouts underneath there. Make sure these are nice and clean and dried before we use them. Okay, so now that I got the vegetables washed, I'm going to take the green beans. I'm going to cut off all of the ends. I'll do this for all of them. So now that I have the Brussels sprouts and the beans all prepared, I want to take the beans and I want to cut these into about half-inch pieces, half-inch to 1-inch pieces. And once this is complete, I will then dice up the onion that goes in the dish and zest some of the lemon. Now with the Brussels sprouts, we're going to go ahead and cut off the ends, and then we're going to half these, and we may even quarter them, some of the larger ones. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and zest the lemon. And we're going to go ahead and cut this in half, and we were going to quarter one of the halves, because we will need that for later. Then we're going to go ahead and mince the garlic. I'm using 3 cloves of garlic. The recipe calls for 2, but I'm going to add 3. Garlic is good for you, in addition to adding lots of really good flavor. Then we're going to take an onion, and we're going to cut this in half, and we're going to mince or cut this up, dice it up into small pieces. Now, working with onions, this Cuisinart tool is something that I highly recommend. It really does what it's supposed to do. Cutting onions, not only do they make you cry, but it's just tedious work. Look at that, just like that. Love this thing. And there you go, onions diced. Okay, so I have put olive oil. I've tossed the green beans and the asparagus with salt and pepper. We're going to put these in the oven on the middle rack for 15 minutes. Okay, now that is in the oven, I've heated up some olive oil into a small pan. We're going to go ahead and add the onions. And the garlic. And we're going to cook until the onions become translucent. All right, so the vegetables are ready. Go ahead and pull these out of the oven. These are looking pretty good. And what we're going to do now, we're going to add the onions and the garlic to the farro. Also going to add 1 tablespoon of butter and the juice from half of the lemon. Season it with salt and pepper. Get out of your way so you can see. We're going to go ahead and mix that up. And now add half of the lemon zest that we made on top of that. Mix that in. I'm going to just add the Brussels sprouts and the green beans into the mixture. And see how that turns out. You know, maybe it's a good idea, maybe it's not. But like I said, we didn't have all the ingredients that the recipe called for, so I'm improvising. And who knows, maybe I'll end up creating a new favorite dish for my family. All right, now that it's complete, let's plate it up. We got to, actually, this is going in a bowl tonight. We're just going to take some of the mixture, put it in the bowl. Well, it's looking good. And then it calls for some cheese, like I mentioned, some lemon zest, and finally topped with some walnuts. So there you have it. This is the Farro vegetable bowl.